Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
On the Morning Drive, Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Super Bowl is set. Chiefs and Eagles. It'll be Super Bowl 59. Chiefs will go for a three-peat. Eagles won early in the day yesterday as they took down the Washington Commanders, 55-23. Just too many turnovers.
Yeah, turnovers were the difference, and you hated that for Washington. You felt like they had a chance to make that a good game or maybe pull off an upset, and it looks like you look at the score and you think, oh, blowout, they were never in it. But man, if they don't turn the ball over, it feels like that had a chance to be a good game.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns, 15 totes for 118 yards. His longest of the day was the 60-yarder for the touchdown. He makes them special. That's putting it mildly. Jalen Hurts looked like he was feeling pretty good. He went 20 of 28, 246, threw a touchdown, and they spread the ball around a little bit as well. As receiver with 6, one with 7, one with 4. And then a couple others that caught balls as well, including Barkley for 1 for 4 yards. But yeah, just too many turnovers. But man, I sure feel like the Commanders
and they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah, I sure feel like the Commanders though are a team that is going to be one to be reckoned with. Obviously, with what they've got with their offense and Daniels as the quarterback, and he seems to be special.
Yeah, no doubt. They're a team with a lot of momentum coming out of this season. There's no question that they, from where they were a season ago to where they are now, are a much, much better place. They feel like they've got the right guy as the head coach. They have a guy and a quarterback that everybody in that organization believes in. So it just feels like that's a team that's on the rise, and that's going to be a powerhouse coming up. But
the 3 fumbles and the interception, just too much to overcome.
Yeah, the interception was at the end of the game. It was over at that point. That was garbage time. But the 3 fumbles.
were the
massive.
Were the big deal. So I was rooting for Washington and wanted them to win, but it just didn't work. I mean, they go on that opening drive. They go 18 plays. 54 yards, 7:03 off the clock, and they come away with just a field goal. And then, boom, right away, Barkley, 60 yards, touchdown. 1 play, 18 seconds, and it's 7-3.
Yeah, never got touched. Maybe he did get touched. I don't remember, but either way, there was no. It was a pretty clear path to the basket there.
Yeah, it was a pretty clear pass. It was a layup, right?
Yeah.
And then they come back and they fumble. Three plays in on their 4th play of their second drive, they fumble, and then it's a short field for the Eagles, and it's 14-3. And
it felt like they were able to move the ball against that really good Eagles defense, but again, the turnovers.
He got it close, made it 14-12, and then Philly goes on a 12-play drive to make it 20-12, and then there's another fumble, and then that leads to another touchdown, and then at that point in time, you kind of feel like, okay.
Yeah, playing catch-up.
And you trail it to half by 27-15, and then there was a time where they went for it on downs, and they were down 41-23, and so they went for it because they didn't have any choice, didn't get the first down, and then Philadelphia, 4 plays later gets a touchdown, and so kind of made it look a little, looked worse than maybe what it was, but it was still bad.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, the turnovers were huge factors in the game, but again, like I was saying, it felt like they were able to move the football and had a chance to have a really good game if they weren't turning it over.
Yeah. The AFC Championship game was everything that it lived up to be. Chiefs win 32-29. They get a field goal, and then they hold off Buffalo to win it. And man, that last play for the Bills, when the Chiefs blitzed with the corner and Josh Allen's back to pass on his back heel and throws the ball downfield, and the ball hung in the air, and the Bills receiver just couldn't come up with it. I mean, there's so many different plays in the game, but that was one that was just right there for the Bills.
Yeah, if you're going to pull off the upset, you're going to get a big win, you got to make big plays, and Dalton Kincaid did not. Got to catch that one.
What did you make of the fourth down call that where the Chiefs held the Bills when it was 22-21?
If I'm being, completely honest, I was in the car at the time and I was listening to the radio, and your guy Kevin Harland and the color analyst, they definitely thought they got it wrong. They said there was a second effort, and they thought clearly he had the first down, and they thought it was placed wrong. But I was not watching at the time, so I can't tell you I have an opinion.
Well, Gene Sarator thought it was three-quarters of a football by a first down. Yeah. And it looked to me like that should have been a first down. That's what it looked like, because it looked like the second effort by Josh Allen.
And that's what the radio guys were saying. They said initially he was stopped, but then the second effort.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't see it, so I can't really say that.
But that was
right or wrong.
That was huge, and some would say, well, that was 13:01 left to go in the ball game, right? But if the Bills, if they get that first down, I mean, and it just looked to me like the Chiefs could not stop them. Could not stop Josh Allen. Could not stop the offense. They were at the Kansas City 41. There's nothing that made me feel like that they were going to be able to stop them. So then you're potentially down by 8, but you're starting the ball now with your own 20, your own 30, whatever, and you start kind of running out of time there with how the NFL clock goes. So obviously that was a huge play in the ball. That might have been the play of the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like you said earlier, there's a lot of them that if the play had gone differently could have changed things.
And then the other thing,
that was one of them.
The other thing, when the Chiefs got stopped and had to kick the field goal, my confidence level wasn't very high with 3:33 to go, because, like I said, the defense hadn't been able to stop Josh Allen, and almost weren't able to. But at the end of the day, Chiefs prevailed, and we'll have a chance to three-peat, and they'll do that a week from Sunday in New Orleans against the Eagles.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Monday, January the 27th. With this day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to go back to 1956. Jim Reed sets a Texas Tech record with 27 rebounds and a 102-85 win at Eastern New Mexico for their second of 7 straight victories.
Jim Reed is in the Texas Tech Ring of Honor at United Supermarkets Arena.
1969. Not sure how this is going to turn out for him. Chuck Noll is named the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's the youngest head coach in the NFL history at the time.
It'll work out okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pretty young coach. I don't know that he's got the longevity of an NFL career ahead of him. Tongue firmly planted in cheek, chat.
Yeah, it worked out really well for him.
1982, Philadelphia Phillies trade shortstop Larry Boa and infielder Ryne Sandberg to the Chicago Cubs for second baseman Ivan De Jesus.
It's Ivan De Jesus.
Ivan De Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that... I think the Cubs got the better end of that.
Ivan De Jesus was a terrific player, and Larry Boa turned out to be, he was a manager, but man, obviously the shining star there was Ryne Sandberg.
Yes,
and the Cubs used those two guys to propel themselves in the mid '80s. But Ivan De Jesus was thought to be a good trade for the Phillies.
2002 AFC Championship game at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. New England Patriots beat the Steelers 24-17. In the NFC, at the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis, the Rams beat the Eagles 29-24. And in 2007, Australian Open for women's tennis. Serena Williams beats Maria Sharapova 6-1, 6-2. First time the tournament used the Hawkeye system for official line calls.
You like that system?
I do, absolutely. I wish they would use it in other sports, too.
It is National Chocolate Cake Day.
Just regular old chocolate cake.
Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned
Right.
chocolate cake? People that don't like chocolate, I understand. But chocolate cake, he's awesome.
Chocolate cake with white icing is hard to beat.
I'll take yellow cake with
Chocolate
whatever ice cream over chocolate
Or icing?
cake. Yeah, yellow. I like yellow cake better than I do chocolate cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, former Red Raider fireballer John McMillan, 27 today.
27 already.
Patton Oswald, 56. Chris Collinsworth is 66. And Fred Taylor is 49. And on this day, 1945, Soviet troops enter Auschwitz, Poland, freeing the survivors of the network of concentration camps and finally revealing to the world the depths of the horrors that were perpetuated there. Auschwitz was really a group of camps designated 1, 2, and 3. There were also 40 smaller satellite camps to go with it. It was at Auschwitz II, established in October 41, that the SS created a complex monstrosity, orchestrated killing ground. 300 prisoner barracks, 4 bathhouses in which prisoners were gassed, corpse cellars, cremating ovens, thousands of prisoners who were also used for medical experiments, overseen and performed by the camp director, nicknamed the Angel of Death. That is this day in sports history.
6:49 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open, 806-771-0973. Jamie, somebody writes in, the AFC game was the Super Bowl. Do you believe that, or do you think the Eagles have more than a fighting chance?
I think the Eagles have a chance.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Eagle offense is potent. It's got the especially with what they got with Saquon Barkley.
It hasn't necessarily been that potent, but it was yesterday. I mean, I think this should be a toss-up. Yeah, I really wouldn't favor one team way more than the other. Yeah, I think the Eagles win because of their defense for the most part. But again, they were much better offensively yesterday. It kind of opened things up for Jalen Hurts to throw a little bit more and throw the ball down the field a little bit more than he had been.
I didn't see this because I was at the Tech basketball game yesterday. I just heard about it after the fact. But did you know, and maybe you did, because the referees warned the Commanders when they were down along the goal line and the Eagles were doing their, Eagle tush push thing, and the Commanders kept, going into the neutral zone,
but they were running and jumping over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that the officials could award a score.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it until the whoever their referee analyst guy was. He said they could, and then sure enough, seconds later, the referee got on the mic and said, "If they keep doing it, we can award a score." Okay, they have been warned that we can award them a score. I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that could be the case. But I guess they just got tired of the constant movement there by the Commanders' defensive line and just said, basically, we can award a score, so you better straighten up, fly right, so to speak. But
there were a couple times where they did just jump into the neutral zone, but the one guy just kept jumping over the line and diving, and you felt like at any point he's going to just take out Jalen Hurts. Right. But ultimately,
I guess they felt like for protection or something along.
I guess that's why you do it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I would think so. But I just had never heard of that before. That you could do something like that. So that was a surprise to me. So.
Well, in extreme circumstances, there's only so many times you can do half the distance to the goal before you're not really moving the ball forward.
Right, and that's their point. They have nothing to lose by jumping off sides.
Right. I just didn't realize that they could do that, and they could say, okay, touchdown Eagles. Now we're going to line up for the extra point. Didn't realize that could be something that could be done. So, at any rate, was kind of interesting. Saw this headline yesterday. Mike Zimmer apparently is not going to return to the Cowboys and most likely will retire.
Okay.
So he's a guy that he had.
Don't feel like he did a great job this year. Not sure that that's a huge loss.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a huge loss, but no surprise there. The Cowboys are probably now scrambling to put together a staff, and one of the guys that's rumored to be the new defensive coordinator is the former Chicago Bear coach. And he had been with the Cowboys, but Matt Eberfluss looks like he'll be the new Dallas Cowboy defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's a better defensive coordinator than he is the head coach.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess as a head coach.
It was a bit of a mess.
We know there are plenty of coaches out there that are really good coordinators, but not great head coaches.
Yeah. I think this is sarcasm from Marquise, I think. He says, lifelong Chiefs fan, I still remember when they drafted a young upstart from Texas Tech. Thank you, Marquise.
He could be a lifelong Chiefs fan for that. It could be EJ he's talking about.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's probably it, Jeff.
I don't think so. I think Marquise is I think he's funning a little bit there. Lady Raiders went down in defeat Saturday to Oklahoma State as they fell 71-68. Made it a game, got it really close in the fourth quarter. As they outscored Oklahoma State 23-12 in that fourth quarter, came from 16 down at one point to trail by a point, couldn't get over the hump, and take the loss.
Kind of feels like the two games were very similar on Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
One where you were the one trying to come back and came up a little bit short, and one where you were holding off a team that made a comeback, but you found a way to win.
Yeah. Found a way to win.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. Just to clean it up a little bit from the Tech game on Sunday, in which the Red Raiders beat Oklahoma State 64-54. The 3 in the second half was made by Kevin Overton.
Overton, okay.
With 2:24 to go, and that came at a point where you were up 56-51, but just felt like that, and the momentum was really on the side of Oklahoma State. I don't know that I felt like the game was in jeopardy ever, but it was closer than I wanted it to be.
Yeah, you just worried if it continued in the direction that it was heading, the team might get a little bit tight and feel like that they being Oklahoma State was playing with a lot of momentum at that point, and so you just never know.
But what it came down to then was you get that 3, it makes you feel a little bit better because you go up by 8, and then the clock is not on their side, and then Anderson makes a couple of free throws with a couple minutes to go in the ball game, and then you go on to win it by 10, and Chance McMillan makes the final free throw with 30 seconds to go to give you the 64-54 win. So they'll play again on Wednesday. It's an early tip time. It's a 6 o'clock tip time on Wednesday. We'll have it at 5 for you, and then play-by-play at 6 o'clock. I felt like in Saturday's Lady Raider game, I was just curious how Oklahoma State would handle it if you had ever taken the lead. You never could get ahead.
Get over the hump. Yeah.
I just wondered how they would have handled that, and because there were a couple times there you had a couple of shots at it to take a chance. Took a couple of shots with a 3 to take a chance to get the lead, and I think what it showed more than anything else is, you can win these games, but Coach Gerlich talked after the game about she needs her team to play tough for 4 quarters, not just the last quarter.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've seen a bunch this season where you've played well for 3 quarters and just had one bad quarter, and it cost you. Well, you had one really good quarter, and it wasn't enough to overcome the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, you trailed by 5 at the end of one, and then trailed by a count of 34-25 at the half. Played a little bit better in the third quarter, but then, I mean, for whatever reason, lit the match. When you got down by 16, because you're down 15 at the end of. Let's see, you were down 59-45 at the end of. So you're down 14 at the end of 3, and then they got a quick 2, and so you're down by 16 with like 9:48 to go in the ball game. And made it, went on like a 16-2 run, and made it a contest down the stretch, but just not enough. You shot the ball really well from the free throw line, 12 of 12, but you couldn't get there enough times. Your opponent got there 24 times. They were 19 of 24.
Yep.
And that was a big difference in the ball game. Another big difference in the ball game, and I don't know. I didn't go back and look at the replay of this, but it sure looked like in the waning moments of the game, looked like Oklahoma State had committed a shot clock violation, and on the ensuing rebound on the missed shot, before the shot clock went off, Logan Johnson was called for a foul, and it looked like she didn't hit the opponent, but they called the foul, and then they get a couple of free throws there, and that made it a 4-point game, and was a big difference in the ball game. Mm-hmm. So there were a couple of replays where they took a long look at it. There was a long look when a ball went out of bounds at the Oklahoma State end. I think they got the call right. It looked to me like the ball was on the off the fingertips of Sarah Sanogo, but they looked at it for an extended period of time. So I appreciate that. It wasn't just quick look no, we're not going to look at that. They reviewed it, and then they reviewed the shot clock violation to see if the foul occurred, I guess, before the shot clock went off, which they say it did. Okay. And so you can't let it come down to a couple of things like that, but they outscored you in the paint, got to the free throw line more, and I mean, you made 24 baskets, which is above your average. So we've seen that in back-to-back games now that they've scored above their average. It's not enough. I mean, we've seen a Big 12 play that you really got to get to 70 or more on the women's side to win. You got to 68. You hit a 3 as time went off to make it a little bit closer than what it was there at the end. So I mean, you get the 3 by Jay to win. You needed those threes a little bit earlier. You went 8 of 28 from distance. So hitting open shots is it's still been a problem. Yeah,
the 3-point shooting continues to be a bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was some reluctance to take some shots, especially by Jada a couple times. It's like, man, if you're open, take it. So we'll hear from Coach Gerlich tonight at 6 on Lady Raider basketball with Krista Gerlich. That'll be at 6 here on Double T 97.3. We were talking. Jeff was talking about in tennis this day in sports history that they used in the Italian Open the electronic way of seeing if the ball's inbounds or out of bounds. Hawkeye, is that what that's called?
I think so, yeah.
Would you like to see a ball, a little chip inserted into the football so they can get the placement of the ball exactly right?
I don't. Well,
for football?
I think it should be in baseball with balls down the line. Okay, it did, it's a fair foul, whatever. As far as football goes, I mean, but how do you determine where the knee is where's the ball when the knee is down? That's what you need. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it would work in football. In football,
okay.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because you could have the chip all day long. It could tell you where the ball is, but you need to know where the ball is when his knee's on the ground. Yeah. You have to determine that. That's still done by the referees.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much of that you can.
I mean, look at that big play in the Chiefs-Bills game yesterday. I mean, that you have to determine when they decided his forward progress was stopped. I mean, that's
a judgment call.
That's a judgment call, not a chip factor.
I do feel like that if they had called first down on the field, that would have been hard to overturn.
Yeah, I mean, and there were 3 calls in the game that felt like they were 50-50 calls, and they all stayed with the Chiefs, and they were the calls that were on the field.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that the second one, or one of the calls that it's in your mind, is the catch by Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
That looked like it was going to be an interception. Then there's a question of, was it even a complete pass?
Yeah, there was
a holding on the play, though, by the Bills. So it still would have been 10 yards down the field, but it wouldn't have been as far down the field as the catch turned out to be.
Correct.
And then what was the other call?
I'm trying to remember now. It was like it was the first half one. Yeah, I can't think of it right now.
I seem to remember that there was one that was like, that was, and there weren't quite as many penalties. It didn't seem like there was many penalties called as I would have.
No, I think there were only like 11 combined in the game. There was like 6 and 5 or something.
Yeah,
it was a pretty clean game between the two teams.
And they let them play. It wasn't the number of holding calls or things like that you see. With the Chiefs got penalized 5 times for 21 yards. The Bills 6 times for 48 yards, and a couple of them were face mask calls that were
totally legit.
But it's like, man, keep your hands out of the face.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody says that when they see a guy grab somebody's face mask or whatever. I just think it's when you accidentally hit a face mask, I think your fingers grip. I don't think guys think, oh, I'm just going to grab the face mask now that my hand's here. I think when you hit it, it just makes you grip it, whatever. I don't think guys do it on purpose.
No.
But they could be smarter about letting go sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, like Milano on that last one that was called in the game yesterday, it looked like he held on to it and brought him down with it. I mean, it was an incredibly obvious, blatant one.
I guess he's just... It's a bang deal, in the moment.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to talk Red Raider men's basketball today. I'm going to give you 5 games. Okay? Here are my 5 games. Let's hope I counted right. Houston, February 1st on the road. Baylor, February 4th at home. Arizona, February 8th on the road. That's 3. And Houston, United Supermarkets Arena at home, February 24th. Kansas on the road, March 5th. 5 games. 5 games.
So that's 3 on the road and 2 at home. Is that correct?
Yep. I want you to tell me, because it feels like if you're going to pull off the upset and win the Big 12 championship. And I feel like I'm going to ask this question because we've put ourselves in a conversation into the conversation. If you're going to pull off the upset, you've got to pull off some of these. I mean, if you're going to win the conference, you got to pull off some of these upsets, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and maybe some of them you feel like wouldn't be upsets. I don't know. That's up to you. What do you think the Red Raiders' record will be in those 5 games?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, I don't think you're going to win the Big 12. Okay. My initial thought was 2-3, win the 2 home games and lose the 3 road. Because I just think winning at Houston is going to be hard. Winning at Kansas is really hard. And winning although they've lost 2 Big 12 home games at home this year for the first time in quite some time. And then at Arizona, just don't know. I think your opportunity to win on the road is in Houston. I'll go 3-2. I'll take the sweep of Houston. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. Because then if you do that, then that puts you in a good spot. You
think it's easier to win at Houston than it is at Arizona or Kansas?
Yeah, because I don't think the atmosphere. If you're just looking at atmosphere, I
tend to look at the team.
It's a smaller arena.
I mean, atmosphere matters. I mean, our atmosphere factors into winning here. Mm-hmm. It matters.
I'm gonna back it off. I'm gonna say 2 and 3. You're gonna win the 2 home games. You're gonna lose the 3 road games. So 2 and 3.
Jeff?
Okay, so I want to make sure. What do I think Tech's record will be in those 5 games, or if they're going to win the Big 12?
No, what do you think their record will be?
I'm 1-4.
1-4, and you think the win is
either Baylor or Kansas, one of the two.
It's hard for me to say that you're going to sit here and go, yeah, I think you're going to win any of those 3 road games. Okay, but do I think you can? Yes. Mm-hmm. I am not enamored with Arizona. Okay, I mean, you played them once and it was a close game, and then you stretched it out there at the end and made it a 16 point win maybe. But we all know it was a closer game than that. Mm-hmm. And the same goes for Kansas. Okay, I think they're a beatable team too. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I do not feel that way about Houston. It just feels like they are our kryptonite. I think you're going to get one home game, the Baylor game. I think you're going to get one road game. And if I were to pick who I think the one road game would be, it would be Arizona. That would be my pick. The road games in order, I would say the most difficult is Houston, second most difficult is Kansas, and then Arizona at number 3. I'm not sold on Arizona yet. I'm not. I think they're good. I just don't think they're Houston good, Iowa State good. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Kansas is either.
I would agree with you on that. I'm not enamored with what they've done. I mean, especially with how they just failed to close out against Houston on Saturday.
So I would think if you were going to win the conference, it would probably take 4, right? You'd have to get one of the Houston games. Mm-hmm. You'd have to. It would probably take 4 in that 5-game grouping that I just threw at you. And that's why I am with Chuck and that I don't feel like you are going to win the conference. But if you went 3 and 2, you're probably going to end up in 3rd, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, and you kind of look at what's left for you. I mean,
if you're 2 and 3, you're probably in the 4-5 range.
You've got TCU on Wednesday, and then you're going to find out real fast because you go to Houston on Saturday. And then come back and play Baylor on Tuesday, and then go back out the next Saturday to play in Tucson at Arizona. Come home to play Arizona State, and go back out. Man, you're out of town the next 3 Saturdays at Gallagher-Iba. And then you have a Tuesday game at Schulmeyer, and then you play at home on February the 22nd. So your next home Saturday game is February the 22nd. That's crazy.
Yeah, but you've had a bunch of Saturday home games or weekend home games, right? You just had 2 Saturdays in a row, and then you had a Sunday. Mm-hmm. So you're due to be on the road for a couple.
To be on the road. Yeah,
a couple on Saturdays.
It's just weird how it is this year.
And we haven't had many during the week at home.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have some at home during the week.
It's home during the week, yeah, including this week with the Wednesday game.
I mean, so that's not that surprising, right? It's not leveling out.
I guess the thing that
Chuck just wants every home game on Saturday.
Well, I think I mean all of us would like that.
Well, you're going to have.
But it seems unfair.
It seems
He's
like
not interested in fair.
Well, here's what's weird to me is with this year's schedule. It just seems like when you're home with the men, you're also home with the women on the weekend, and when you're away with the men, you're away with the women on the weekend. So, I mean, the arena's going to be empty again this weekend for basketball because the women play at Colorado.
By the way, Chuck also thinks that about all sports. Every Saturday game should be in Lubbock, regardless of the sport.
No, that's not necessarily the case.
You wouldn't want 12 home games a year for football?
That's not realistic.
No one said realistic. This is what you want. I would like a date on Friday. That's not realistic either.
We like going to see new stadiums.
I like going to see new places.
We like to see the Red Raiders win and quiet a crowd on the road.
Yeah. There's nothing better than There's nothing better than that. By the way, and I missed. I looked down there, and I would tell you that I thought I saw him, but I wasn't certain. That's why I said I didn't know. But a couple of texters have said that Darion Williams did come back to the bench. One person said when he walked back through the tunnel, he wasn't limping, was even goofing with chance. It was his right ankle, but he did come back to the bench before the game was over. I mean, I thought I saw him down there, but I wasn't totally sure. But he didn't go back into the game, so hopefully he's okay and will be fine to play on Wednesday. You got a couple of days to get some treatment, but like Jamie said, once you start dealing with an ankle, whether it's your left or your right or both of them, it concerns you, especially as you're just not even quite halfway through the season yet on the men's side, because you're going to play 20 conference games.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hour 3 of 3 with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Come to you from the First United Bank studio here in downtown Lubbock. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open, so is the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. Just a couple of quick notes. One, I saw this yesterday, and if you'd asked me, I'm like, I didn't realize it was that close. But we're only 48 days to Selection Sunday, which is March 16th.
Okay.
Okay.
So not to the NCAA tournament. We're not counting down the days to that, just to Selection Sunday.
We got to get to Selection Sunday before we can get to the tournament, which will start then on that Tuesday after Selection Sunday.
It starts on Thursday.
I thought you'd get I think they have the first 4.
Yeah, it starts on Thursday.
Okay. So
nobody gets excited about Tuesday and Wednesday.
I know. I'm just, okay. He's late to the party with this. This comes from the UCLA men's basketball coach, Mick Cronin. He says, "We've sold our soul to television." He's not happy with the Bruins' travel schedule.
Maybe don't sign up to play in the Big Ten.
Right. The Big Ten goes from Seattle to Los Angeles to New Jersey, and they have one upcoming game. 3 of their next 4 games are at home, and the road game is against crosstown rival USC. Okay. So it's not much of a
It's a close one at least.
Yeah, it's a bus trip right across the town.
I wonder if he likes that fat paycheck he got.
Right.
I wonder if he likes the fact that all his athletes are being paid and making it easier for him to recruit because he's got that.
Right.
Suddenly, you're not just selling your soul for TV, are you?
No. And college athletics sold their soul to television decades ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
This is not new news, right? This is not new news by any stretch of the imagination.
Now, I will say in his defense, it was the football team that did it to him, not his choosing.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. How's that paycheck, Chief?
Yeah, you knew what you were getting into when you left. I think he left Cincinnati to go to UCLA. Okay, so you knew what you were getting. You know what you're getting into. Are you surprised or not surprised that there's been, it seems like, not much outrage with regard to the Cowboys hiring of Brian Schottenheimer, at least here this morning? Is it more that just people are numb to it?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think you're just, Cowboy fans are kind of giving up on the decisions that Jerry is making.
Jeff,
what would you like me to add after his perfect statement?
Yeah. No, I think it is. It's just, you can't. We can't threaten anymore because nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, and all we can do is sit back and watch and wait for Jerry to die now.
Gosh.
Because you're not going to win. That's the next step. You're not going to win. That's now been determined. It was pretty close to not happening before with the Dak Prescott contract. We were pretty sure that wasn't going to happen. and now you've hired a guy who, as an offensive coordinator and play caller, had a top 10 offense 4 times in 10 years. And he's your guy. And injuries aside, anybody like what the Cowboys offense was doing this year?
And just hearing last week that Dak Prescott wanted somebody that he wouldn't have to learn new terminology and all that, I think that makes it worse for me, because it feels like, does Dak have pictures of Jerry or something?
I don't know. It's just crazy, right? It
just feels like this was a move made to please Dak. And maybe that's completely unfair. Probably is. I don't know. But Dak's the biggest problem. Jerry's the biggest problem with this franchise, and Dak is second. And now we're doubling down.
Yeah, right. You know what was stunning to me, and I saw this the other day when I was just kind of looking at a screen, and it's a stunning number for the Cowboys, because they've talked about how they can't afford to do something or couldn't afford to go get Saquon or Derrick Henry, yeah. And then you talk about coaching staff and not being willing to write the check to go get Bill Belichick or whomever. The Cowboys at home, their average attendance for this past year, 92,972. The next closest team are the New York Giants at 78,470. So arguably two of the worst teams in the NFC and in the NFL at the very top of attendance. Now, it's all about stadium size, right? But just think of the amount of money that Jerry has over his fellow owners just in terms of attendance, concession sales, parking sales, everything. I mean, everything. So you look at this and go, it shouldn't even be, there's no excuse other than the guy at the very top who's running the thing as to why it's been 30 years since you've been to an NFC championship game. But it's just nuts when you look at that and go, 92,972. And then everybody else is in the 70s. Heck, you've got some teams in the 60s. The Washington Commanders, 63,428. Cowboys have almost 30,000 more in attendance than the Washington Commanders.
A big difference.
It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference. Big difference. It's just absolutely crazy when you think about it at the end of the day. So
again, I go back to the comment I made last week. Cowboy fans make the best boyfriends. We stay with you until the end of the world. Doesn't matter what you do to us. You can beat us. You can not give us anything that we want. You can do all the decisions that make our lives more miserable, and we still show up on Sundays to watch our team lose.
And now you have Brian Schottenheimer as your head coach. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I know. What more can you say, right?
Crazy, but not surprising.
Little surprised. I was still thinking it was Kellen Moore until the announcement came.
Yeah. I think if you'd have said to me at the start of all this, Brian Schottenheimer's going to be, I'm like, there's no way.
Uh-huh.
There is no way. But there is a way, because Jerry Jones is still the owner and general manager and head daddy rabbit of the Dallas Cowboys.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.